When economic circumstances change, you must change with economic circumstances. In 2018, I talked about how we were moving into an inflated market and we were pushing into a bubble with real estate, including multifamily, predominantly multifamily, and even residential single-family homes. And so I talked about on behalf of the fact that real estate would change. I had no idea that the circumstances that we have encountered with high interest rates, high treasuries, low leverage, meaning less money from banks, would face the commercial market sector as abundantly and as aggressively as it has. And so in 2020, I told my staff, business partners, investors, I said, look, we won't stop building. It's just how we build will change. And I don't know what the exact answer is going to be to mitigate through the muddy water, but we're going to mitigate through it, and we just have to figure it out. So after months of research, talking to lenders, looking at best finance options, working around what the best terms were, we found that HUD lending was the most advantageous lending that was out there. There was pros and there was cons, just like everything. So today, more so than anything, I want to share with you guys the business model that we've positioned ourselves to take advantage of in today's current market, which is actually giving us better leverage, lower interest rates, and longer fixed rate terms, stabilizing our assets safely. For us, for investors, for long-term holds, and for long-term profitability. But the biggest thing is knowing what to actually invest with and the tools that are available to you. There's a lot available. Now, through traditional lending is still tough right now in 2025. Interest rates are still higher, substantially higher than they were just 3 years ago, and leverage because of high treasuries are a massive issue. So how do you mitigate through this? Well, government-assisted loans are a great way to mitigate through this. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac are great, but there's also talk that those Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans might be deregulated and go independent, meaning that they're not going to be government-assisted loans anymore. They'll have some type of government overlook on them, but if that happens, it'll take those lending tools away from us as investors. So what tools do we still have that are advantageous to take advantage of? Now, through HUD, through housing and urban development, there's multiple different types of HUD loans that you can stabilize. So if you're a syndicator and you're watching this, pay close attention because there's a tool for you. If you're a developer and you're watching this, pay attention because there's a tool for you. If you're a strategic repositioner of highly distressed assets, pay attention because there's information and attributes for you as well. And for those of you guys that just want to enhance your property and do substantial heavy lifting, there is tools and resources available for you as well. Now, let's go through this step by step. Let's talk about the pros and cons, and let's talk about each of the most advantageous ground-up construction loans or stabilized HUD loans that are available for you to take advantage of in this current crazy market. So when we talk about the first HUD loans, the FHA 221-D4, okay, we're going to generalize these. We're not going to go into specifics, hard details. There's a lot to these. I just want to make you aware of what resources are available for you, when you would utilize these, and how you utilize them to take advantage of stabilizing your assets long term. Now, the 221-D4 is a new construction loan. That goes for new assets. So this is for people that are going in, ground up, new construction, they're scraping dirt and they're going vertical. You have to build under the HUD guidelines. So under the FHA 221-D4, the rules and regulations to comply with HUD are a lot more strict. Here's the thing. You have to go in and you have to facilitate 100% of your architecture in compliance with HUD. Now, the HUD contractor, the developer, has to onboard and hire a general contractor that is HUD approved, meaning that they have experience building for HUD and under HUD guidelines on prior projects. So it's a lot harder to find these contractors because there's less of them out there, obviously. And they have to build under what's called prevailing wages, which is the David Bacon scale, which means higher wages have to go out to those contractors and their employees that are building these multifamily apartment complexes. Now, with that said, we also go in and stabilize these under the HUD guidance, which does give us long-term stabilized loans of up to 40 years. And we could go in and we can stabilize it at typically a lower interest rate and with a lot more leverage. Now, through the FHA 221-D4, you can get up to 85% loan to cost. And in a day and age in 2025, where it's not unlikely to see leverage as low as 65%, 60%, and the lowest leverage that we've seen on our own projects is 52% loan to cost. So that's a lot of equity you have to bring to the table under those circumstances, and the cost for the preferred returns for equity investors is extremely expensive and puts a lot of downward pressure on your asset. So to be able to de-risk your asset, this is a great tool to come in get a lot more leverage, so you don't have as much of that equity stack and the liability that's putting downward pressure on your bill. So you have a lot lower interest rate. And what's cool about FHA and HUD lending is that you could buy down your rate just like you do with any other traditional loan. And in a day and age where interest rates are sitting on stabilized assets at 7.5% or better, we can go in and stabilize these at sub 5% interest rates with a slight buy down. Okay. And just FYI, if you buy down your rate at the time that you're actually executing the loan, it's a lot less expensive than doing it on the back end. Once you do it on the back end, the problem with it is it's a lot more expensive, and the cost of doing it down the road is so expensive, most people won't even take it on. So always buy down your rate in advance. Now, one of the big things with the FHA 221D4 is this right here. This 40-year fixed term rate is what's most advantageous. This right here is advantageous. And the biggest thing is being able to position your assets for long-term wins. Now, with HUD, just like most lenders, they want to make their money by being in the loan for a long time. This is a government-assisted loan. There is early payoff penalties because of the cost. Now, one of the negative things about this loan is that the length of time that it takes to get it through underwriting. It's about a 12-month underwriting to take down the FHA 221D4. But once you do, it's a very advantageous loan, okay? Now, let's talk about the FHA 223F. Now, this is the loan that we typically use the most right here. This is the one that gives us a lot of bandwidth, okay? Now, what we do with this FHA 223F, it's on stabilized multifamily. So because this one takes 12 months to do, with the FHA 223F, it's more lenient of a loan. So here's what's cool, is that you can go in, we can fix our architecture. We can go in, add the ADA requirements to be able to comply with HUD. We can go in and change our energy requirements, which OPS, by the way, the 2023 energy codes comply with HUD. Now, the other thing is you do have to do a green build. You can do an Energy Star green build with the FHA 223F, and it complies with the HUD requirements. So you do have to do a green build, okay? With some modest changes, though, because of the leniency of these loans, you can go in and get these loans upon stabilization. So you can go in and go with a traditional, conventional lender. If you go with one of the big lenders or one of the local lenders and you get better financing and quicker financing to be able to take the project out of the ground, you could go in, you could finish the asset, and once you're finished with the asset, you start stabilization. Once you get fully stabilized at about 95% fully stabilized, you can go in after an FHA 223F and you can leverage a 35-year fixed term loan, and you can go in and get 80% loan to value. Now, here's what's cool about the 80% loan to value with HUD is that they don't care where your basis is as long as it pencils. If you go in and you build a $30 million asset, that the value of that asset based on revenue is worth $30 million and you're only $20 million into it, you could take 80% of your value out of that asset in cash out refinance at stabilization. In today's day and age, no bank wants to give money away to lenders because they know that the market is less than perfect and otherwise compromised financially, and a lot of these multifamily investors are going out and leveraging their assets, and they purchased in 2020 when values were through the roof, interest rates were way down, cap rates were compressed, and values were exponential, right? So now that the market is different and interest rates are high, cap rates have risen, and values have gotten crushed, now is not the time for banks to be giving exponential money out on the value of that asset. They want to hold and retain that equity. They want you to be in the deal with them. They want to make sure that they have financial protection and that their overall basis in that loan is as low as humanly possible to be able to give them more stability as a lender with that loan. Now, HUD, it's a government-assisted loan. They're looking at your stabilized overall net operating income, but not your personal basis. They don't care if you go in, you have a $30 million asset, for sake of example, and let's say that you had $20 million into it. That's $10 million of equity. So if you go in and they finance at 80%, let's see, $30 million times 0.8, $24 million. If you're $20 million into it, that means you can walk away with a $4 million cash out refinance and put that $4 million in your bank account, in your pockets, tax free. You can utilize that not for a car, not for to go out and build a house. I mean, you can if you want, but you leverage it to go out and grow your business. You put that money to work and you invest it. You put that money to work to go out and buy another asset, but you could pull that money out under this FHA 223F and you could do it up to 80% loan to value, 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And again, you could go in and buy down your rate, which is already a good rate at a very low cost if you do it on the front end, okay? So these is a great way. This is our most dominant tool that we're personally utilizing right now in new construction, because we're not putting our construction loans through this one. We go through conventional financing, get our stabilized loans here. And the benefit to that is we don't have to pay out David Bacon scale, we don't have to pay out prevailing wages, and we don't have to change 100% of our architecture to comply with HUD. We just have to change the minimal requirements and some of the more lenient areas for ADA and energy. Now, number 3, FHA 244D. This is for new construction and heavy renovation, which means that if you're going in, you're picking up some heavy lifting on a property that's physically distressed. Let's say swimming pools are cracked, it's financially distressed, physically distressed, and you have to come in and reposition that asset. We had a project that was down in Youngtown, Arizona, just outside of Peoria, and this project was a financially and physically distressed retail building. We didn't utilize the FHA 244D, but we learned a lot about this program at that time. We had onboarded a HUD inspector and a HUD mortgage lender to be able to come in and take advantage of helping us understand the HUD lending process better. And we went through the FHA 244D. We found that there's a ton of similarities in the FHA 221D4. There's a lot of similarities between these two right here, okay? And the biggest thing is that we could go in and do heavy renovation. So it wasn't all new construction. We did have a new construction component of 60 units, but we had a heavy lifting and remodel component of taking the old office and turning the old office into 44 units of multifamily. So under those circumstances, we had a demo part of the buildings that were there, decollateralized the property, and then we retrofitted old office into 44 units of multifamily, and then we went vertical with 60 units of new construction. This would have been a great loan to utilize because of this parameter for heavy renovation in the FHA 244D. Okay, so you could either use it for new construction or for the heavy lifting of strategic repositioning financially and physically distressed assets. Okay, the FHA 203K, guys, this is the residential one. This is the residential one you hear me talk about. Now, this FHA loan is super advantageous. You can get sometimes 0% down and 100% leverage, or a 95 to 100% loan to cost under new construction on single family homes, anything up to 4 units, because 4 units and less is a residential property. And under the residential mortgage lending rules and regulations, for all consideration, anything 4 units and less is considered to be a residential dwelling and could be financed as a primary residence, mind you. So if it's owner occupied and you occupy 1 unit of 4, it's a single family residence and you can get a personal loan on it utilizing an FHA 203K on your existing multifamily. The leverage is incredible, the interest rates are incredible, and so you can go in and get a lot more money from the bank with very little money out of pocket, and you can take advantage of it on even a duplex or a fourplex. This is a great way to get started. Now, it does have to be an owner occupancy, and so understand that if you're doing this and you're building a fourplex and you have the ability to live in it for a short time, go after an FHA 203K HUD loan, and that HUD loan will be worth its weight in gold for you on anything 4 units or less. Great leverage, low interest rates, and a great opportunity for people to get government-assisted lending at a really reasonable price, especially in a day and age like today. Now, last but not least is number 5. This is a great tool for people. Number 5, it's a 241A. Now, I didn't know about this. I went to the NMHC, the National Multifamily Housing Council meeting this past year in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I sat down with my HUD guys and I told them about our projects, and I explained to them, I said, hey, look, David, when we go in, we're utilizing the FHA 223F on our stabilized assets. And I said, we're building these things under HUD guidance, but we don't have to do prevailing wages. He goes, yes, that's a great tool. And I said, but because of the amount of leverage that we still have to bring to the table with HUD lending, because we're going conventional lending on these, the construction loans are only giving us like 60% loan to cost to do it. So I said, it took our old $5 million cap raise on $30 million build to a $10 million cap raise times the multiple of 4, 5, 6 projects that we have going on at any one given time. So it more than doubled the amount of equity we have to bring to the table, which the leverage is just tough. So what we started doing internally as a business is we went in and we said, okay, no more. We're going to phase these projects. So if we had 200 units, we're going to build 100 units in phase 1, 100 units in phase 2. We're going to stabilize the asset and utilize the finished dwelling of the phase 1 to collateralize against the phase 2. So that way we use the equity that we built through the phase 1 as the actual equity in the development for the phase 2. So we have less out of pocket cost for leverage and debt because of the leverage that we're putting on the equity of that asset. So instead of going in and putting high risk, high expensive equity at risk and being able to put so much downward pressure on our projects, we're able to de-risk them by just phasing them in 2 phases. So David came to me and said, hey, look, did you realize that there's the 241A? It's a HUD loan. It's an FHA loan where you can go in, use it for new construction in phased projects for supplemental funding, but you can use it for heavy lifting, and it's also to enhance your existing property. So if we go in on a phase 1 and we use conventional lending, we don't have to wait to stabilize the asset. We don't have to wait to stabilize the entire asset to get a HUD loan. We could come in and we can leverage a 241A against the phase 1, which that portion is stabilized, but now we could take it and we could build the phase 2 into a construction loan for the phase 2 and the heavy renovations, additional units, an extra 100 units, as a supplemental funding to add more units to our already existing property. We do conventional for the first half, HUD on the second. It brings our construction costs down substantially, and we're able to roll into a stabilized loan at a T1, a trailing one, 30 days worth of financials. And we can roll into a long-term fixed-term loan of 35 years. And then the financing looks very similar to this one right here, the FHA 223F. And so understand that you could go in and get a long-term 35-year fixed-rate term loan. You could do a buy-down sub 5% at a very reasonable cost and leverage the 241A to be able to phase your projects, de-risk them, and make them financially liable with less money out of pocket on your equity stack, being able to position yourself for more leverage, less risk, and ultimately larger profits. Ladies and gentlemen, this is extremely high-level FHA financing, but extremely important information for you to understand in this current market. If you don't understand what's available to you in this market, you don't understand how to leverage your tools that you have, you'll never be able to get projects to pencil that would otherwise make sense utilizing some of these HUD loans, these government-assisted loans with better leverage, lower payments, and less risk. For more content just like this, where you're educating yourself on how to get lending, how to buy land, build houses, and ultimately get into the multifamily space for passive income and long-term wealth, then click and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you're notified when more content like this is released, and give us some love, smash that thumbs up button, and I can't wait to see you next time. God bless, and I'm going to recommend a couple multifamily underwriting videos right after that. Click, watch, and we'll see you inside.